morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. It's me, Mitch, in my National Sarcastic Society t-shirt this morning. Yes. And I have a new button on my mixer. It's mixer button. I can press, feel the need. You know, I think it might be a helpful button for this morning. So, after yesterday, oh well. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, I'm here. And I think Kelsey's probably still going over there, or Nelson. Let's see, she's still. Yes, they're still at it, and we got 41 people. Not too bad. Not too bad. Lori says, love buttons. Rick wants me to just use the quack sound effect, but that might not cover it all up. Anyway, let's not forget raison d'etre, the reason for being here. Drink it if you got it. Morning, Juliet. Steph, good morning. Good morning from Detroit. Tuka's here. Mitch wins kilts every single time. Thank you, Tuka. Thank you. I don't know about that. We'll see. They'll show up. Terry Moss says this is the first time I made it 4 live. Well, I'll try to behave for you. Sorry, I didn't behave yesterday. Oh, it's going to be an interesting morning. Between my letting loose yesterday, and I really did, and what happened subsequently with me deleting the replay and posting my little explanation video and a slew of absolutely great comments from you guys on that. And I hope you understand, because the upshot of it was I had a ball on that live stream yesterday. I got very passionate. The real me came out, unfiltered, uncensored. I said what was on my mind. Threw caution to the wind, took the filters off that I talked about yesterday, and I wish I could do that every day. It would certainly distill, that's a good word for it, distill my audience down to people who kind of think like I think. People that maybe aren't so brainwashed by virtually everything. That aren't afraid of being politically correct or woke or any of those things. And, you put me around those people and I'll just have a ball every day. You'll never know what's going to come out of my mouth. And I think that's entertaining too. But it was wild. It was wild. I did take it down because YouTube treats videos with honesty and a certain amount of profanity in them. They don't treat them well. First thing they do is they label it real quickly. And this is all done by algorithm. And the algorithm has no judgment. It just has rules. You're allowed to say the F word a few times, but any more than a few times, your video is immediately labeled not suitable for advertising, and any revenue as a YouTuber that you might have made from that goes away. YouTube is the ultimate, what we call permanent record. You ever heard that expression? It's a be on your permanent. Be careful, Johnny. This behavior is going to be on your permanent record. Well, the permanent record that they have on all of us now would make a CIA dossier look like a pamphlet between all of the personal information that are contained in Google's databases, Amazon's databases, Microsoft's databases, not to mention the NSA's databases. I doubt that if we printed that out, all that stuff, that any of us could fit all that paper in any single room in our house. That's our permanent record, and it never goes away. It never goes away. It never gets deleted. Once it's on the internet, it stays on the internet. A mistake that many people regret, especially people that do things like sexting. My God, I should have never sent that. I never texted him that picture. So, if you're a YouTuber, you have to realize that the future of your channel, and yesterday I said I really don't care about that because I'm almost 80 years old. What do I worry about the future of my channel? The future of your channel depends on how much YouTube pushes your videos out to people. And the more controversial you are, and the more times that they have to put an entry on your permanent record because you said, for example, the F word too many times, that usually leads to your channel being permanently demonetized, like all the political channels were during the last administration, which is what drove most of them to Rumble. And if I was a political channel, I wouldn't be on YouTube, I'd be on Rumble. But as a health channel, Rumble has no audience for it. And you can pretty much go nowhere. I went to Rumble as a backup in case YouTube did decide that there was something about me that they just couldn't feel right in their woke conscience in presenting to the average people. And then I look at the stuff they do present and I go, no logic. That's good. That's my first coffee of the morning. Unlike Nelson, I actually got a great night's sleep last night. I was watching Nelson talking about he didn't sleep last night. I slept great. I didn't get up until like 5:45, which is really sleeping in for me on a school night. But I have to be very careful with YouTube. And the only thing I can do so that, and I'm still taking Google's words for that, when I delete a video, it's really deleted because they go so far out of their way to say, this is gone, deleted, unretrievable. Do you really want to delete it? It will disappear from exist. They make a big point of that. Do I believe it? Not really. But that's the best I can do to ensure that it just doesn't make it harder and harder for me to get them to put my videos in people's recommended feeds, which is the only way that most of us actually get new subscribers, and ensure that my channel doesn't just dwindle away to nothing. My view counts over the last year because of their bias against people eating meat, their woke liberal leadership in all of these things. Their advocacy of climate change, animal rights, and all that other stuff. We meat eaters are the scum of the earth, and they're not doing much to push us. The guys who are big channels who got pushed back when I first started, man, I would get 100,000 views on a video. It was crazy. It was crazy. I'd pick up 1,000 subscribers a week in the early going. Now I'm lucky if I can even end the week without losing subscribers. Those guys and those of us that have a big enough subscriber base and manage to get past all of this censorship and shadow banning, we at least have our subscriber base to view our videos. And my average video now gets about 2,000 views, which is nothing compared to and nothing if you're trying to make a living. So I gave that up a long time ago. I do it for the passion. I love it. I have a good time here. Love you guys. But I have to delete anything like what happened yesterday. I just have to. It pains me to. Now, I have a copy of it. Right now, the only copy, well, no, it's not the only copy in the world, because whenever I do a live stream, I also simultaneously record it in StreamYard. That's not Google, that's StreamYard. And I don't have unlimited storage like Google. I have 50 gigabytes. So that's good for probably 10 live streams. So if I don't clean them out once in a while, it won't record them. I'll get a message say you don't have enough disk space left. So I do that regularly. So before, I forgot to do that, and for some reason, one of my live streams wouldn't be recorded. I went in yesterday and downloaded yesterday's live stream. The file was 3.5 gigabytes. So I now have it. I have it on my servers. I have it on my backups. So at my leisure, I think that what I might do with that is go through it carefully, edit the hell out of it, and try to come up with a version, because I think there's a lot of really good and actionable information about that might help people trying to be carnivores. And then maybe I can actually release it on YouTube again as a standalone video, because it pains me when I work so hard like I did yesterday and put so much passion into something to not be able to share it because of I use the term to be, again, not, use no dirty words, the clenched shut sphincters, how's that, of so many people who are so easily offended by just words. Taken out of context on top of that. We talked about that yesterday. So we'll leave it at that for this morning. But I want to thank you all for the fabulous comments that you gave me on that yesterday. And for those of you that were here, I hope it will remain somewhat memorable. Who was here first this morning? Let's see. Lady June. Yesterday afternoon. How you doing? At 4. I put this up before 5 o'clock yesterday. I didn't want to forget. So I did put it up yesterday afternoon, and Lady June jumped right on it, and Michael Pregular was next. Hiya, Michael. How are you? Nikki W. chimed in at 6:30. We had Mary M. and Jerry was here. Hiya, Jerry. How you doing out in the middle of a forest? I sometimes wish I could live in the middle of a forest myself. Rick chimed in. Kay was here. How you doing, Kay? Going to be out walking this morning. Lady June chimed back in this morning. How you doing? Her afternoon, 1:38 a.m. our time. First insomniac, early riser, was Mike Seeley. As usual, before 4 a.m. Wow. Patty's Garden at 4 o'clock, Brian Dish. About the same, 5:28, Manny Beddoes chimed in. Good morning to you. And I got up and I chimed in at 5:52. So I got up at quarter to 6. Threw some clothes on, came in here real quick to set the studio up and get my coffee pot on and try to get it all done before 6 so that I could sit down outside in pure transparency and honesty, fire up a cigar, even if just for 2 or 3 puffs. I know it sounds crazy, but just very relaxing. First thing in the morning, helps me clear my mind. Actually, I don't think I burned this much of that cigar. Basically it's for later, but just a couple puffs. Turn on the TV out there and watch Kelsey for a while. And I generally now don't, and nothing against them, but I just have a hard time hearing the same story over and over again from different people. I mean, you just get an interview burnout, unfortunately, here on YouTube. At least I do. And it's the same thing, and the same questions, and the same answers. And it's why I don't watch Ken Berry's lives anymore. I don't hardly watch anybody's lives anymore. Speaking of lives, I think it's going to be live, but I very rarely do interviews, very rarely. But this Sunday, October 26th, I think it's Sunday. Let me check and make sure so as not to mislead anybody. It would be Sunday, October 26th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Probably conflicting with every football game you guys want to watch. But there'll be a replay. I will be on again with a man that I really admire, who is genuine and dedicated, incredibly helpful, incredibly well-known. Lives in Japan, where it will be 6 a.m. Monday morning or something like that. That's Dave Mack. And I was on with Dave once before, and we had a great visit, and we're going to catch up. And we're going to talk about primarily what the hell is happening to the carnivore community. It's just getting stupid in so many places. Curry last night had a live stream, and I watched 5 or 10 minutes of it. But just because I don't watch it doesn't mean you should watch it. I don't watch it because I've seen it all 100 times before. Most of you haven't seen it. So he had Lee Kopus. At Lee Kopus, I don't even remember who it was, but I remember Lee was there, and they were talking about the same subject. where did all this, you know, if you don't start eating carbs, you're going to die crap come from? And why is it becoming so? Well, that's what I'm going to talk to Dave back about. And because I know he and I are like-minded on the subject, and I know that carnivore for him, as it is for me, it's just not frivolous. It's just not something we do because Ken Berry said it's good for me. I do it because if I didn't do it, there'd be no control on my carb addiction, period. End of story. I've talked about that. And we'll talk about the great blueberry adventure that I'm still having. That's right now and at this point pretty much dominating every free minute of my life. Those friggin' blueberries in there are making me crazy. And I'm learning a lot about just how insidious, scheming, mean and nasty, and how much punishment am I willing to take from my own animal brain, that beast within me. Torture, just to save face and say, see, I'm strong. I didn't eat the blueberries. It's the fourth or fifth day now, and I'm telling you, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what happened yesterday. But let me get back on it to where I was. But Dave is doing it for the same reason that Michaela Peterson does it. The people who have the same reason that Lee Kopus does it, the same reason that Curry does it, is that they know they would be 200 pounds heavier on their deathbed, if not dead already, if they didn't, because they just can't help themselves and would eat, kicking and screaming, the food that makes them so sick and cause them to become carnivore in the first place. That, my friends, is why some people need to be carnivore and some people can just play at it and still do okay, as long as they avoid the really ultra-processed foods. Mike Silly Sr. was here. Tracy Thompson yesterday had a little confusion about the my own homemade electrolyte mix, and she commented, and I took the time to try to spell it out so she could understand it for her, and she thanked me for that. Thank you so much. And then Annette P. from Canada, Alberta, is here. Good morning, Annette. How are you? Me Cool Cat is here. Lambs chimed in with Lucy Work. We had a pretty busy pre-chat this morning. Bricks chimed in, said quack time soon, and Aaron was here at 6:56. Rick again. Thomas, Target Prime Rib. Hi, Thomas. How you doing, my friend? 6:59. Getting close. Who was the winner, as if we didn't know, huh? It's getting boring now. And I don't even know yet. I haven't gotten there, but I can guess pretty well. Let's see. Tuka chimed in early. I'm Wayne Herman. Hiya, Wayne. No, guys. Oh, my God. You've taken the fun out of this, the two of you. You're taking the fun out of it. Lambs, 7 a.m., Robbie Autry, right on his heels. Oh, wow. And even Rick got close this morning, and Josephine C. And if once wasn't enough, Rick got back in again at 7 a.m. Don Schonger. Mary Massey, how you doing, Mary? Lori, good morning, Lori. Lori wrote me a very heartwarming and wonderful email yesterday, and I appreciated that. Patty's Garden, Patty's Garden, good morning, Mitch. Mitch Lambs, LOL, Mitch, yeah, whatever I was saying. But you won. You did it. Josephine C., Laurie again. We're getting some repeats here. Jeff's like, Juliet is here. Hi, Juliet. How you doing? Juliet's making the rounds, I'll tell you. Good for you. Steph, B-Cat, how are you? And Tuka. Good morning, all, says Terry Moss. First time here. Peter's here. Bacon Runner, Donna Ray. How are you, Donna Ray? Good to see you this morning. So you're back. I'm glad to see you back. Who's this? Larry. Mudbone. Okay. Anybody haven't said hi to yet? Yeah, can I lead out Steve? Steve Rogers, Captain America. Superhero. Good morning, Steve. How are you? From Kansas City, Missouri. And I think we're Jerry Voitush. Good freaky morning from Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. You know, I don't know how many of you are science fiction fans, but you got to be familiar with Battlestar Galactica. You remember that? Battlestar Galactica. And every other word out of the mouth of every other character in that series was fracking. Fracking. Fracking this, fracking that, frack this, frack that, frack the other thing. You're out of your fracking mind. And it was perfectly okay. And it wasn't even R-rated, it was PG-rated. It was for little kids. It was okay to say that. It was said in the same context with the same meaning, exactly. And a change of one letter, 2 letters, but that made it okay? How do we rationalize that in our mind? That one word is so bad. The N-word, same thing. The N-word. How are we so at ease with the fact that if an African American says it, it's a term of endearment? If a white person said it, it's a prisonable racial slur. Same fracking word. How in any way is that logical thinking? We are so conditioned, robot-like. Sheep. I rebel against that, and sometimes it comes off wrong. Well, frack that. You know what I mean? Terry Moss, how you doing? Who else? Put QQQ in the chat if you want to trigger me with something, get me started down a rabbit hole. I'll be happy to do it. Otherwise, I'm having fun this morning. I'm feeling good this morning. I'm very, very relaxed. I'm not really pissed off about anything. Nothing. I didn't see anything yet this morning that I thought was so absurd. Well, I did see that politics. There are a few things in politics that you just have to, things that make we want to go, you know. But there are enough people commenting on that. I heard that little Jean-Pierre babe, that little ex press secretary of Biden's that used to just trigger people left and right with her attitude. She left the Democrat Party to become an independent, and said and had the. Does everybody think that we're so stupid that we don't understand what we see with our own eyes? Well, obviously she does. So good luck, sweetie. I hope you have a great future and career in politics, because Evidently, there's enough stupid people out there to keep buying into your act. Peter's giving advice to Amy. I don't know, Amy, you all right? Are you all right, Amy? I need to start reading some of this stuff because there's a subculture in all my live streams. Subtopics that are discussed in great detail that I basically am oblivious to as I go about my ranting and ramblings. And I try to catch up with the chat. I try to catch up. I go faster. Peter's selling Ninja Speedy air fryers. He bought it on eBay for $50. Let us know. Ninja makes great stuff. Great stuff. And, you know, I am doing this Typher stuff now. I think it's great, but I will not get rid of my Ninja 651 because there are things, believe it or not, with that grill with its own heating element, I can't do it. It can come close, but it's not that I couldn't live without it, but it is a good air fryer. And so many people have bought it. The only downside to it, and it's not really maybe a downside for most people, is once in a while, you got to get down and dirty and clean all that stainless steel under where the heating element is, and the Typher eliminated that need. Well, you know, how important is that to people? Some people it's not important. It's the reason why I bought this Cuisinart air fryer toaster oven, used it until it got dirty, cleaned it once, and put it away and never used it again. And my son did the same thing. I got it because he got it. And we both decided at the same time that there isn't enough money or time in the world for us to use that thing and have to clean it. It's impossible. So that's an important thing. Speaking of Typher, let me show you this. I didn't make a video about it. I don't think I'll make a standalone video, but they keep sending me gifts. One of the few perks of being a YouTuber. And I don't deal with too many manufacturers. Only two of them, actually. Typher and Weevac, the vacuum sealer people. And those are, oh man, that has changed my life. They sent me a little gift here. It says Typher InstaProbe Core. Evidently, they watch every video I make, and they may have noticed that I have this meat thermometer that is magnetic, and I stick it up on my range hood, and you know, it's one of those ones where you open it up like a penknife and stick for instant read thermometers, and that wasn't whether they were offended or just wanted to show off. I get this. And I haven't used it yet. I just got it yesterday. I don't know if it's a magnet or not. It's bigger. But it is one of these instant read thermometers. It's heavier. I'm sure it's accurate as hell because their stuff is. You can see the temperature in my room here is 79.87 degrees, and that's exactly what it is. Because that's what I cool my house to, 79 degrees. It's gorgeous. I mean, it's like a piece of jewelry. It sells for about $60, which is, I haven't even looked into it yet, but it sells for a price comparable at most of the ones. I haven't put this on my Amazon thing yet. I haven't used it yet. I'm going to start using it and see if If I don't like it because maybe it's not as convenient as that other thing, they also sent me this thing, the Typher Gold Dual, which has 2 thermometers, and it has a base station with a kickstand on it. And basically, you can use this anywhere and everywhere. You just turn it on, take out the thermometer, and then it'll read the temperature, and you stick it in the oven, a barbecued meat or anything. Or it also syncs with their air fryer. This new one doesn't. And this is like the Mac Daddy Cadillac of meat thermometers. I still have my meter, but this, oh wow, this really puts that to shame as far as the app, as far as the easy use, because I don't have to fool with this. It's got the base station. It tells me what to, I can just take out the thermometer, stick it in the meat, cook, and put it away. Whereas with the meter, I got to set up a program, I got to maybe cook beef, and I set all the temperatures. This thing can just be a thermometer too. Plus, it can do all that other stuff. So, I guess the bottom line is, don't send me any meat thermometers. I'm pretty fat on them right now. The good news is, if you're cooking without a meat thermometer, you're making a big mistake. Big mistake. Even if you're just cooking a burger patty or a piece of salmon. You know I'm not a fan of blood tests and measurements and accountability, but if you're cooking, measure. Measure, measure, measure. Constantly. Make sure you don't overcook it if you want it to be just perfect every time, because if we can't enjoy our food cooked right, why bother? Why bother? Everybody's talking about vitamin D levels. Got 133 people here. That's great attendance. Great attendance. I evidently didn't scare anybody away. We'll see how tomorrow goes. How many of them don't come because they say, crap, I came back and he didn't go crazy. That wasn't very entertaining. Burrow Grandma's here. How you doing? Good to see you. Don Galasso, good morning to you. Good morning to you. People are talking about how much vitamin D. I decided a year or so ago to take a vitamin D supplement because my vitamin D level was 30, which is kind of like, I know these levels and these ranges are just averages and arbitrary, but it was the bottom of the range. And so I started taking 5,000 international units and got it up after a year of that to about 65. And that seemed to work pretty good. So I take the vitamin D. I take the D3 and K2. Let me catch up here quick and I'll talk to you about blueberries. Because it's fascinating. It's fascinating. I pretty well was right about everything I thought about addiction and how it works. But boy, am I living it now. And I'm living it when I'm aware enough about how it's working on me to recognize it and analyze it. And maybe think of better ways. Some of us might be able to handle it, but becoming more and more firmly convinced, and this is the sad part, but it's okay, more and more firmly convinced that when you get to a certain level of addiction, there's only one answer, and you all know what that is. Complete abstinence. 0 carbohydrates. And every time you keep listening to these people that scare you into thinking you need to add a few back in, there may be some merit to some of their points, but that's a time for the tough decision. If I add carbs, I may as well just quit any kind of dieting now because I can't control myself. That's a decision that alcoholics make every time they sit with a craving to drink alcohol. It's painful. It makes you evaluate, is this worth that? Is this one drink worth starting my life's slide down into the gutter again and losing everything I got back because I've been, say, sober for 10 years? The fact that that decision is one it isn't so obvious to you and a no-brainer. The fact that you're actually considering it is proof itself of the power of these addictions. The power just to get you to the negotiating table is incredible. When in reality you should say, I'm not coming to the table. I've made my decision. I know that you'll rule my life. Why would I even want to talk with you? Why do I want to even be in the same room with you? Why do I even want to be in the same country with you, let alone sit down and give you a chance to give me another sales pitch and try to lure me back into eating that crap? That proves this is a real mechanism, powerful mechanism, a mechanism that was responsible for your ancestors' survival, and you can't just ignore it. And the biggest mistake everybody makes is you can't think or be arrogant enough to know that you are that strong and you have that much control, because when you take away conscious thought, with it goes the control you thought you had. And that's what I'm doing with this blueberry experiment. I want to talk about that in a minute. Let me just catch up here a little bit. I'm only up to 7:12 in the chat, and it's already about more than a half an hour behind. Bill Cook says 13,000 views from 8 days. Yeah, I get videos that go over 10,000. Some of them catch on. That's why I have to behave myself on YouTube, because they do push them out. Terry Sue says, I get on kilts, but don't stay unless it's a really good show. Well, yeah, if it's an interesting guest. But, Kills is on vacation, and most people wonder how many people would come into Morning Coffee with Mitch if Mitch didn't show up and there was somebody else here. Maybe more. I hadn't thought of that. Peter says, Nelson is, Nelson, as far as I'm concerned, he's where the real education comes from. He's the medical director. He's teaching the coaches. I love the guy. Good heart, very knowledgeable. I love him. Yeah, I agree. Everybody's talking about kilts in the chat now. The chat is the fun part. Yeah, it is. That's what happens. So sometimes it doesn't matter what the host is saying, because the professor can't get the class to pay attention. But the professor also realizes that that's the reason the kids go, because otherwise they stay home and they'd have an empty classroom. So you got to take the good with the bad and try to make something interesting enough to grab people's attention. Obviously, I did yesterday when I went off on my little rant or two. I'm looking at the end of the experiments with blueberries or poking the bear. Poking the bear doesn't even begin to describe the danger of a carb addict having carbs in his house, addictive carbs. That was the purpose of the experiment, to try to demonstrate. Don't do it. And that if you are stuck in a situation where you have no control over your environment and your surroundings, even people that are well known as carnivores and have been successful and lost a ton of weight, and they are among us as I speak, who are honest enough to admit when they, I don't like to use the word cheat. You're not cheating anybody. You're disappointing and letting yourself down, but you're not cheating. There are no victims except you. And in my philosophy, if you want to go screw yourself, go right ahead. I don't care. And I got a button to prove that I don't care. Trying to show the real mechanisms, make you understand why. And if you live in a house full of people that don't care about you enough, or don't understand enough, or aren't carb addicts, and anybody who's not a carb addict, as I said yesterday, just shut the frack up, because you're in no position to give us advice. You don't understand. You don't understand. No more than a 19-year-old can give us advice about aging gracefully. Got to be there. Got to be living it. I don't give alcoholics advice on how to stop drinking. I have no earthly idea of what they go through, other than that it must be something like what I go through with carbs. I don't give cocaine addicts, heroin addicts advice, because I don't know what that's like. I'm not a cocaine addict. Only thing I can do is assume that addiction is using the same techniques on them to get it what it wants as it uses on me with carbs. And in that respect, I would imagine, although I can't prove it for sure, that all addictions can pretty much be treated the same way once they reach a certain level, and that is abstinence. But that's not universal advice, because not everybody is addicted at the same level. So, the alcoholic, for example, that can drink one drink in the afternoon and be happy about that, still needs his drink in the afternoon, but that's all he needs. Well, that's manageable. He can drink, here comes the word, in moderation. I don't know too many cocaine users or heroin addicts that can't do that, because I think that is wildly addictive. But in carbohydrate addiction, since it's been with us so long, and it's a natural thing to be addicted to carbs, it's a survival thing. It's not a fault. It's a physiology. There are different levels of it. And you cannot take advice. And people that aren't at your level, if you're at the highest level, which is people I'm addressing my advice to, because otherwise you don't need it. You don't need somebody that can eat a couple of cookies and walk away from them. Lucky you, you don't need this. So people may say, well, Mitch. And I say, what? Well, Mitch, aren't you really limiting your audience? I mean, look what you're doing to yourself. Pretty soon you're not going to have anybody that can benefit from your advice, because you've eliminated everybody. You've eliminated all the people who are on any diet but carnivore. You've eliminated the keto people. You tell them that they can't be keto because you're talking to carb addicts. And if you're a keto and you're dwelling on which carbs to eat today, without knowing it, you're still taking the great blueberry experiment, and carbs are ruling your life and your every thought. And your cravings just get worse and worse and worse until you finally give in. So you say, if you're keto, you're going to fail. Oh, that makes them pissed off, and head over to Ken Berry's channel where they got Nisha. Nisha will be happy to show you how to make that carnivore pizza and those carnivore mashed potatoes. I don't care. People can do that stuff. Many people can do that and live a perfectly healthy life. Carnivore is not the only diet in the world. Carnivore is a diet for people with a very particular problem. Turns out that problem seems to be probably prevalent in more than half the human beings on the planet, which is something nobody ever thought of or estimated, is that just like an alcoholic needs no alcohol, a carb addict needs no sugar. So the first thing to be admitted to Professor Mitch's class is to say, everybody's welcome, and if you're entertained, that's great, but please don't give us advice if you aren't one of us. Not only is it meaningless, it's dangerous. It's dangerous to come on here and say, well, I don't need that. I don't get those desires. I don't have that problem. I don't. Shut the frack up. That's not helpful. That's gloating. That's self-aggrandizement. That's, I'm better than you. None of us need that. And you don't need us either, other than a place to show off. So that limits my audience. Or not. Because so turns out the reason nobody knows they're a carb addict because nobody wants to let them know what it even is. There's too much propaganda, too many interests, too much money. The food companies won't let us. These are the same people that are probably behind this movement of trying to create fear that somehow a carnivore diet may not be healthy and bad for you. And they're doing a lot of harm right now. And they're the ones that are responsible for all these, what's happening to carnivore videos? How come so many people are leaving carnivore? Because they're schemers. The same people that have got us so addicted to this stuff on purpose have schemes and plans to make sure that it never gets found out. Lest people stop buying. We saw an example of that the other day when I showed that news broadcast where Kennedy comes out and says one thing, and the eminent Dr. Quack comes on and twists the words around, so we leave the discussion believing that, yes, Martha, red meat does cause heart disease. It's very clever and very insidious. It's a scheme. A scam. But it's too big, and there's too much money, and there's too many people make their living at it. Well, the good news is Americans are getting healthier because obesity is being... yeah, right. More bullshit. Excuse me. Wait a minute. More... there you go. That's too much work. I can't do that. I can't hit the bleep button. I could record it with... no, I can't even record it with a delay. Wow. Okay, I'm stuck. You're stuck with me. For the most part, unfiltered. I was suggested in a comment that I want to have a late night live stream. Mitch unfiltered. I want to be in bed sleeping late at night. I'm sorry. Oh, I am so far behind in this chat. Okay. You're still all talking about things that don't even resemble or apply to anything I'm talking about, so why should I even bother trying to figure out what you're talking about? I just go my own way, have a good time for an hour, and see you tomorrow. Until I see a QQQ in there. Now we're talking about Paul Saladino. And hello, everybody who I missed is chiming in a little later. I've got up to about 7:30. I'm running through it now. Talking about coffee. Peter says, yeah, Peter knows himself too well. That's the key. You can't be ashamed of this weakness. It's not your fault. It's been done to all of us. Just by society itself. It would be impossible to be addicted to chocolate if you never knew what the hell chocolate was or tasted chocolate. But it's everywhere and everything now. Whose fault is that? It's an incredibly addictive substance. You think maybe that's why it's in everything? Because the people that want to sell you crap know that you buy more of it with chocolate in it than if without? Of course. So don't be ashamed of yourself. It's not... we don't have to wear armbands if we're raging carb addicts. And we need to start considering ourselves raging carb addicts. Not your average, ordinary, everyday, sometime carb addict. We're ruled by our addiction. How do we know? Because we almost killed ourselves feeding it. And still, even knowing intellectually how bad that crap is for us, we'll still eat it anyway. We keep negotiating with that beast in us. This is not a new concept for me, guys. I didn't just think this up yesterday. You remember this? And I don't try to sell it to people. I don't want you to buy it. I give it to you if you're a member of private community, but you don't read it anyway, so why bother? But the title of my book, Taming the Beast Within. What do you think I meant by that? Ding, ding, ding. What do you think I'm talking about when I say the beast within? I didn't just realize how much control our animal brain has over every aspect of our lives. Not just our heartbeat and our breathing, but our very thoughts and emotions and motivation. And that beast is still an animal, and that beast doesn't consider our conscious mind even worthy enough or mature enough to factor in what it wants into its attempt to get us what we need or what it thinks we need. So powerful that there is an explanation in that concept for all of human behavior, good and bad. And it's an absolute no-brainer to make the connection between those theories and the reasons why we cannot resist that birthday cake. I realized this for half my life. I wrote that book 24 years ago, before Ken Berry, before Sean Baker, before Anthony Chafee, before anybody was thinking about how do I stop eating stuff I'm addicted to. I tried everything. I have been working in my own laboratory on this problem. It took me until I was 65 years old to come up, and the discovery of Carnivore, and prove to myself that complete abstinence from sugar is the only way to tame the beast. And that is the key. Taming your animal mind. And the proof that it works have been the last 3 years, or at least my pre-stroke last 3 years, in the fact that I was never haunted by a craving for carbs. My animal mind finally got the message that I'm not going to die by tomorrow this time if I don't cram sugar down my neck. Because that's where most of us live. Most of us cannot go 2 hours. Luckily, we can sleep through the night without getting up and getting that sugar fix. There's a physiological and psychological reason for that. And that's what needs to be addressed. And most of it is all controlled by hormones and epigenetics and instinctual behavior and learned behavior and all that stuff factors into it. There's no simple answer. But the simple cure is you got to just exist for a couple of weeks without sugar. And like anything else, we learn things. And if your subconscious mind expects to die every day without sugar, doesn't see sugar, and doesn't die, it gets the message. There's no reason for me to compel this animal to find sugar anymore, and the cravings go away. I noticed this morning. I noticed these little subtle things that just prove I'm right. Yesterday, the entire afternoon, I sat at the negotiating table with the beast inside me and talked about what am I going to do with these blueberries that I bought. Honestly, it consumed most of my day. I wanted them in the worst way. I wanted them, I was rationalized. I said, why don't I just eat the friggin' bag and get it over with? That's going to happen anyway. I knew going in that I'm a stone addict, and that you put in front of me, it gets eaten. And why am I fighting this? Am I still holding out? Maybe not necessary. Sit there. How'd that get up there? That's cool. Well, my mouth's quitting everything while I'm going. Hold on a second. Let me get my other mouse over here. And first order of business will be to get that off the screen. Yes. Second order of business will be to fix my other mouse so that the right button works. Left, right. Okay. I don't know why this mouse does that. This decides to go to sleep. I got a mouse that can't stay awake. I got a narcoleptic mouse. How about that? And it's not the battery, it's the Bluetooth connection with this old computer I'm using. So anyway, I'm back. Anyway, I already know what the outcome is. And the only time is the quest for something that I really see other people doing, the quest for something that I would love to be able to do, and the fact that over all those years I've proved that wanting it is not strong enough. But being somebody who's clever, I'm trying to figure out a hack or a way around it that will make it doable. And that doable for me is the holy grail for a carb addict: moderation, which I know is impossible. What can I do so I can just eat one little dish of blueberries? Do you know how much sugar are in blueberries? Now, interestingly enough, of all the foods that satisfy my addiction in enough quantity, blueberry ice cream has everything that for me is like crack cocaine. It's got fat in it, which helps because the carbs are less glycemic when you eat them with fat. That's a good thing. But 1 cup of blueberries has 21 total grams of carbohydrates and about 4 grams of fiber, which I don't count anyway. 1 cup of blueberries. 1 cup of blueberries. 8 ounces? Have you ever seen 1 cup measuring spoon? That's not even a mouthful of blueberries for me. I'm talking, when I eat blueberries, I'm talking about pounds of blueberries. Not 3 ounces of blueberries. All that's going to do is just tease the carb addiction. When I get done, get to the point where I can actually stop eating those things, I have probably consumed 200 grams of carbohydrates, maybe 1,500, 2,000 calories, because that's where they get us with this blueberries. Oh, 1 cup of blueberries is only 84 calories. Oh, wow, that's great. That's great. Yeah. 84 calories, 21 grams of carbohydrates, 19 grams of sugar. Sugar! But it contains polyphenols, which have been proven, and it has vitamin K2 in it. I've done research. vitamin K2, and manganese. Blueberries contain manganese, and manganese is useful for this, that, and the other thing. So, what a perfect snack if you got to eat something. And yes, it's a hell of a lot better than a lot of the alternatives. But for a carb addict, it's crack. It's crack. It's got the, when you make it into ice cream, it's got the taste. It's got the texture, the creaminess. It's got dairy. It's got fat. It's got, I mean, it is, for me, the most addictive food on the planet. And I'm still holding out hope to show you how powerful that beast is. I'm still holding out hope that I can come up with some way to be satisfied with 1 cup of it, 8 ounces. Hey, this is 16 ounces. This much ice cream is going to satisfy me. I need a salad bowl. And I know it because I've tried it. How many hundreds of times in my life have I tried to just moderate? They own us. They brag about it in their commercials. They stick it in our face and laugh at us as they take the money to the bank. Lay's potato chips. But you can't eat just one, you moron. We got you hooked now. We own you. Said the crack dealer on the corner. How do we fight that? If we don't even recognize it as a problem in society and keep glorifying these foods. Actually telling people are healthy and good for them as they eat themselves into oblivion. We do. Because we don't control the narrative. We're the rebels. We're the underground resistance. Most people don't even know we're here. We think we're making a dent with our documentaries. We're deluding ourselves. We're fighting for our lives because we know how to do it. Nobody else wants to know. They're not letting them know. They're putting Dr. Mark Siegel on TV to try to minimize what little interest is out there in RFK Jr. and the fact that he wants people to eat fresh meat, not lean meat in small quantities, Mark. He wants them to eat fresh meat. He wants them to eat saturated fat. Not trans fats. As long as the money and the power are in charge, we're not going to get the message. I think we'd be much better. And if I have to be shunned by the entire carnivore influencer community, if I have to be the guy who everybody says turns against and says, don't listen to him, he doesn't know anything. He's talking about addiction. There's no such thing as addiction. There's only lack of willpower. So don't listen to him. He can't help you. Buy my shit. If I have to make enemies of those people or at the very worst, not be their friends, I have to do that. Otherwise, I'm selling out. And I won't do that. I won't do that. And I don't care who doesn't like me or who won't talk to me. I'm that convinced that I know the reality of all this. And the only way anybody, even just one of you, actually gets the message and fixes it, or the day that Peter can tell me I haven't eaten a piece of cake or pie or cheated in my girlfriend's over the weekend because she had all this shit laying around. Finally gets a message that if you don't get this shit out of your life, if you don't just avoid being in the same place with it, you're going to lose. And it requires some tough decisions. But it's the reality of it. And I want people to at least give me that much credit for figuring it out. As far as the blueberries go, I'm done. I'm done. One way or another, those blueberries will not be in my house tomorrow. You can take that to the bank. And you notice I said one way or another. Because I know myself. There's a number of ways this can go. Depending on my mood at that particular minute. Because addictions are not constant. They come in waves. Cravings come in waves. Believe me, my first thought when I got out of bed this morning was not blueberries. I could care less. Didn't even remember I had them there. They creep up on you. Then they overtake you and overwhelm you. And then you try to satisfy them. And then you feel guilty. Kind of like the 5 stages of grief. And the regret. And the questioning. What the hell was I thinking? I didn't want to do that. Why did I do it? I keep trying to tell you why you're doing it, but you don't want to, you don't want to think that hard. I will tell you what's going to happen. Because in reality, from a physical harm, a health harm, it makes no difference. My future is not going to be changed one iota if I ate no blueberries or ate all the blueberries. If I ate all the blueberries and cream, then I'm probably going to have a few bathroom adventures. And it'd be up to me to decide, well, is it worth it? You got to pay the price for everything. I'll probably enjoy the hell out of it. So there is that risk that I may have to retame that beast within me. But I've done that so many times before, I know it's not a big deal. Because as soon as I get that stuff out of sight, I can't re-addict myself that hard to it. And when it's out of sight, it's out of mind anyway. And I'm not going to go running after, if I finally get it out of the house. As you can see, what's going on with me, and I'm aware enough and honest enough to admit it to myself that I am in a negotiating process right now with my inner beast. Does that sound silly to you? That's what's happening. I'm negotiating. I'm telling my inner beast, throw the shit away. Throw it away in a way that you can't retrieve it. Because if I just threw the bag in the trash can, I'd be back there in half an hour pulling it out. Just for the same reason when I got sick of ice cream finally, I took what was left in a half gallon, and instead of putting it back in the freezer, I had to put it down the drain because I knew that I don't have control. How many people can really admit that to themselves? Some of us can because we actually think about it. But the average person has promised himself it's going to be the last time, done the deed, and forgotten all about any promises he made because the place where he remembered those promises conveniently got turned off by the beast who says, I want sugar. So we can't fight the thing that's really in charge of us. It's impossible. So I'm negotiating with myself right now. I'm negotiating with myself. I think the smartest thing I could do that I come up with is I'm going to eat ice cream. I can tell you that right now. I'm going to make some. I went through all this. It does bring me pleasure. What I'm trying to do now is damage control. Damage control. But boy, have I learned, and it's fascinating watching it, or just watching my mind start giving me excuses Barry Simon, check your email for the beast. Barry keeps feeding me. He fed me a breaking news version of Brantman yesterday. Let me see. What did Barry send me? Maybe I can preview this in front of everybody. At any rate, here's the thing. Here's the thing to do. Maybe the thing to do. Maybe the best idea for me, because I don't want to eat 3 pounds of blueberries or drink a half a gallon of heavy cream, would be to strike a happy medium. Maybe I should just take and measure out so many blueberries that I think it's going to have to be it, but certainly more than a cup. Make enough of this blueberry ice cream to really get myself to the point where, all right, that's enough. And throw the rest away before I even make the first bite. Because if I made the first bite, and if I ate the first bite, there's no way I would be able to throw it away until I got to the point where I was so disgusted with myself that I really would make a comeback from it that much harder. Francine P. bought me a coffee. Thank you, Francine. Thank you so much. She said, life is good. It is, Francine. Thank you so much. And Barry Simon, Barry, what did you do? There it is. Hang on one second. Let's see. Bear with me, folks. Oh, that's great, Barry. That's great. I want to look at it first. Oh, man. Barry, I love it. Wait a minute, everybody. You gotta see this. This is great. Oh, man. Do that again. Look at that. You're getting to be a master with that, Barry. That's great. I love it. I got to figure out some way to use that. I have to. Everybody like that? Where was I? There we are. Thank you, Barry. Thank you, man. You're getting to be real talented. That's still, I imagine you're still doing that with Grok, Elon Musk's AI, which might be one of the least biased AIs politically. There are times when I am so fed up that there are alternative search engines to Google. Some of them are pretty politically neutral, like Mozilla's DuckDuckGo, it's called. I sometimes swear I'm going to try to scrap Google, but all their stuff is so convenient, so convenient. I still don't see the first QQQ in here, so obviously you guys are quaking in your boots and afraid to get me started. No, I'm fine today. I really am. Doing good. I don't know if that's disappointing. It's like going to a NASCAR race and nobody has an accident. It's boring. I think I got ranted out from yesterday. Chat is filled up today. Yes, Loretta, I knew going in exactly what was going to happen. In fact, almost every study goes in with theories and hypotheses trying to disprove or prove it. Why bother otherwise if you don't know what you're looking for? Well, I did this knowing what I was looking for. I was looking for primarily how important is the accountability support aspect of helping somebody get through an addiction as opposed to going through it alone. Found that out the first day. Can be somewhat helpful, but for somebody at the level of carb addiction that I am, in the long run, you're going to cave. So I let it go a little longer because I knew this negotiation was going on, and I wanted to become a fly on the wall and really try to figure out what my argument was and what its argument. My argument, of course, is driven by a conscious desire to be healthy and not do it. Its argument is basically, okay, if I don't get the sugar, we're going to die. We got to come to some happy medium. And I've learned that the level of your addiction will allow you to either come to a happy medium, in which case you can moderate. And everybody's different. Everybody's different. And I've learned everything I need to learn from it now. And I learned that my hypothesis was absolutely correct. I've proven it to myself. I've proven A, there's no way in hell I'm going to go through life without craving this stuff if it's available. So the only answer for that is don't make it available for me. Well, that's easy for me because I stay home all the time. If it's not in the house, it's not available. I don't have anybody living with me. It's easy. And I know for a fact that if I manage to go without it for a couple of weeks, the cravings reduced by 90-95% because my beast inside has learned its lesson. You're not dying. I keep telling you you're not going to die. You won't believe it. And it says to me, what do I know? I'm 50,000 years old. I'm still living in the age before there was 7-Elevens and TV and social media and all that shit. All I know is that when I'm living on sugar, I need sugar. I don't know all this science. I'm still primitive, this beast inside you, Mitch. All that shit you know in your conscious mind about biochemistry is foreign to me. I have no concept of understanding of that. I only understand because what I'm doing are things at a basic level. I monitor sugar levels and amount of sugar you have left in the storage, in your muscles, in glycogen, in your liver. When the sugar starts to get low, and I've been living on sugar for so long I forgot there's any other way, I know that in a day you're going to die. So my job, and my only job now, is to get us some sugar. That's all I know. I don't think rationally. I'm a machine, Mitch. I'm a machine. I'm a machine like an animal is a machine. He's not an animal. He's just sitting there having conversations with himself. His machine is running its programming and it's doing what it needs to do to keep alive. It learned that over the entirety of its evolution. So, Mitch, you're negotiating with a machine, a computer, who's still living in the caves. You expect understanding out of me? The only way you're going to convince me is you don't eat blueberries is go weeks without them, and we'll see if we're still here. And then, as I've always learned, I'll modify my programming a little bit to include the fact that we proved it to ourselves. that we can survive. We are fit enough to survive in this environment without sugar. And I'll lay off the cravings. That, my friends, is exactly what's happening in your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is a beast, but not very smart. When it comes to making decisions like that, most of its decisions have been made over hundreds of millions of years of actual survival experience, and they're hardwired in. A very hard concept to explain in analogies that make people really understand the incredible dynamics that went into the development of the genetic programming that runs this machinery that we are. And we're no different or better than any other living organism on the planet. In some respects, we're actually inferior to the roaches, because everybody knows when the shit hits the fan and the nuclear bombs fly, there'll only be 2 life forms left alive on this planet. We all know that. What are those 2 life forms, you may ask me? 1, roaches, and 2, Keith Richards. Other than that, adios. Roaches don't have, Babs says, sapiens. Is that a word? What are you trying to tell me, Babs? We're special in that we have separate and high functions, and we are not special. Babs, don't go there. Don't tell me why we're not just animals. Don't tell me how special we human beings are and why. And certainly, don't tell me that, please, don't do it. Don't do it. You ought to know that. Not a smart path to go down. And with that, we won't talk about that anymore. And Babs, I'm sorry, Babs, I want you to go away. I want you to go away. Time out for 24 hours. Okay, that's great, Babs. Don't come back, please, please. I'm sorry. Sorry, probably a very nice person. Are you doing that just... Question, did the meme have sound? Yeah, it may not have played. Oh, you'll see it. I'll use that meme in a thing. But if you think that we are not animals and we don't react to these things, then why are you here? Why are you go to church and find your answer? Don't ask me. Don't come in here and spread that around in here. Please. I don't want you to change a thing, Babs. I don't want you to not believe what you believe. Far be it for me to try to change your mind. Be comfortable in your beliefs. But you're looking for your answers in entirely the wrong place. You need to go to church. You need to ask your priest, how do I fix my problems? If that's where you believe, because you're special. You're not animals like the rest of us. You didn't descend from animals like the rest of us did. You are special. You're special. So, be special. Go to your special place and find your answers. There's also a website. It's got all the answers for you. It's all there. The title of the website is there for you. The website, and this is real, is called Answers in Genesis. Genesis. It's got all the answers for you. Unfortunately for me, it's got nothing, it raises nothing but questions that defy logic. But for you, all the answers are there, and this website will tell you them. Lori says, Annette had a great question for you a while back. And I'm trying not to be mean. I'm trying to be who I am and what I believe. And I'm not going to have it in here. I'm not going to address it. And I hate to do that. I wish you hadn't come in here with that shit today. I just wish you hadn't done it. You probably didn't know any better. I never saw you here before. But I have to deal with that. And I don't know how. It's still hard for me because I just don't want to hurt people's feelings. And certainly don't want to take your God away from you. I don't want to. I want you to believe what you want to believe and what brings you comfort. But when you bring that in here, it's completely contrary to what I work so hard to try to convince people that I know is the truth. And you will never accept. So why should we go through that agonizing exercise and work when we both know what the outcomes are going to be? You're going to have your beliefs, and I'm going to have mine. And if I can figure out some way to put up a disclaimer without actually having to pin it in the chat and say, please be respectful, keep your religion to yourself. I wish I could do something like that, and it would be adequate. And it would stop these people who just want to destroy me because I believe in evolution. And that makes me a deadly menace to everything. They're just like the people who don't want you to hear about the fact that carb addiction is a thing, because you are a deadly menace to their message, which is that's healthy, and if you're a carb addict, it's because you're weak. And I spent so much time and so much work trying to lead you through common sense and logic and history and fact to the fact that you got to recognize that's propaganda too. Okay, I'm looking for who had a question. Lori was. Annette had a great question for you a while back. Barry Simon, did you meme have sound? Yeah, I think I heard the sound of my headphones. It just wasn't set up for the mixer to play it out at that point. But I will. Yeah, without the sound, that probably didn't mean the same thing. Hang on a second. I can do it. I can do it, Barry. I can do it. Because you worked so hard on this. Here it is. Stay away. Do you hear it that time? Stay away. Perfect. Perfect. I guess you heard it that time. Super, 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 super. Much more fun going to that. Where is the next question? AP, that's great. Okay. QQQ, AP. We aim to please here. We don't want to miss anybody or ignore anybody. I don't see it. I don't see it. I see that whoever that Babs was When I hit her, like 30, 40 messages got deleted. So I can only imagine the Roland put question in front of your question, says Lori. I could see that every other entry in the chat was this Babs person, so I wasn't watching, but I'm going to get rid of that so it never happens again. And AP, hey Mitch, why do people want us to fail? People around me try and force results on me. I don't get it. It's not, Babs, they don't want you to fail. They don't want you to fail. They want you to be wrong, but they don't want you to fail. And why do they want you to be wrong? Because they are addicts. And name me an alcoholic that wants to hear somebody else say, you shouldn't drink, alcohol is bad for you. I quit drinking, you should too. What's their thinking going to be? I don't think drinking is bad for me. They're going to rationalize it to themselves because they don't want to quit drinking. Well, your friends that are offering you the desserts are just looking for your permission and agreement that they can keep eating their sugar and it's not as bad as you told them it was. That's what they're looking for. What do you do? They honestly don't care. Or else they know that it's such a treat for them that they like you enough to want to share their treat with you. But they're doing it for themselves. They're doing it primarily to justify that they're not doing anything wrong or harmful. They don't want to believe it. So that's my answer to that question. And what was it? Was another one? Did I miss another QQQ up here? I don't know. There are so many entries from that Babs person in here. Look at them all. Look at them. See all these great entries? Look at that. How did I miss all that? I wasn't paying attention. Holy mackerel. Look at them. Look at them. Between Babs and Rick. No wonder I can't get through this friggin' chat. Holy cow. Peter says, R. Pierce has a comment. Have you watched YouTube My Lunch Break? You have a few more years than me. If so, would love your perspective. The more history we have told us what we see. No, I haven't watched it yet, so I can't really comment on it. My Lunch Break. I don't know what that is or who. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. Did you guys heard it? Yeah, you heard it. You heard it. Peter came back. What did I miss? Yeah, Peter, you missed a hell of a lot. I don't know. Every time you go away, the trolls know it. Okay, Peter's gone. We can aggravate Mitch now. We can start talking. We can bring religion in and throw it in his face and see if we can't get him really pissed off and start ranting again. Well, not this time. This time, just go away. And I tried to do it nicely, too. And maybe that person wasn't that bad. But in going back over and finding out that there are at least 100 entries from that person in this chat, I don't know what she was saying. But I'm not going to deal with it. I'm just not going to deal with it. Sorry. Sorry. Hey, it's time for me to go. Wow, already. Yes, and then when we succeed with difficult changes. All right, Lambs is talking, and Mark... Yost, how you doing, Mark? Good to see you. Good to see you. What else here at the end? And Peter is moderating too. And before it gets out of hand, guys, and I have to end up with another rant. It was pretty calm, cool, and collected today. And I want to thank everybody for coming in. Thank you so much. I enjoyed it. Now I'm going to enjoy the rest of my day and figure out how I can dispatch these blueberries so I don't have to deal with them anymore. And I'll let you know. I'm not going to make a video about it. I'm not going to film what I do. I'm going to tell you about what happened tomorrow, and I'll be honest about it. And we'll see. Peter says make sure to pour a lot of dish soap onto the blueberries, but it's going to be interesting. Right now, I don't want them. Right now, I have no cravings. I could care less. I'm going to go have a cup of coffee with my Lucy in it. Watch the replay of this out on the patio. Smoke a little more of that cigar and relax until it's time for my first meal of the day. I'm certainly not going to eat the blueberries until I get a craving. Maybe I won't get a craving. Maybe 4 days is all it took for me to get over that, having them close at hand. Yesterday was a rough day. Well, let's see. I'm certainly not going to eat them unless an overwhelming urge to, or a reason to give in to my subconscious. I know how it works. And we'll see. So, Lori, thank you, Mitch. She says, Peter, put the blueberries in the garbage. I don't have a garbage disposal, Peter. I'm sorry. Buy Mitch to make something cool. Salmon cakes yesterday. Yeah, they're great. I love them. I haven't had them for a while. I need to make them. Got plenty of bacon grease. Standing for goodbye, Mike Silly Sr. Goodbye. Goodbye, Anthony. Goodbye, Donna Ray. Loretta. Bye to you, Amy. Hi and bye. And to everybody else that I didn't say goodbye to, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. Weren't too many fireworks today. I hope you weren't disappointed. But I'm not going to delete this one, so, because I don't want to delete them. Yeah. Take the rest of the day off. I'll let you know about the blueberries tomorrow. But the one thing I definitely plan to eat today is meat.